There we go. I'll just realised I've got my slides on the wrong place. Okay, so as Richard said, I'll just say I'm Sally, and I'm joined here this morning with Richard. And if you've got any questions, then do please pop them in the chat box, and then everyone can see them. If they go in the Q&A, just Richard and myself can see them. So we really welcome questions, so feel free to add anything in. If we don't cover something that you're interested to know about, then please just pop it in the chat box and we will do our best to answer all of your questions. So just to say as well that we are welcomed here this morning by a whole host of different much loved partners, from our independent funeral directors to colleagues at regional co-ops and the main group co-op, and also funeral partners. So welcome to everybody. So this morning we're just going to split this into two sections. I'm just going to go through why it's important to offer and use the advanced features that Much Loved offers. And Richard is then going to show you a demonstration, so show you the sort of nitty-gritty of how it works in the back end. So the difference that advanced features can make is that they, well, apart from anything, you can change absolutely everything. So whenever you're setting up a funeral notice, if you make a mistake, or if the family change their mind about something, maybe they want to change the charity or the funeral location gets amended, not to worry, because absolutely everything can be changed within your Much Loved partner area. Offering the additional features also will help to improve the experience for your families. And in particular, if you add in any webcast information into the front of the funeral, that will display on your website, and it will allow people who aren't attending the funeral in person to access the information. You can also upload an order of service, so they can then download that from the funeral notice page, and they can have the full experience by being able to print off the order of service and follow the service as they would do if they were attending in person. The other thing to mention is that it increases traffic to your website. You can put a QR code on the back of the order of service, and when your families scan that, funeral guests scan that, they'll be taken directly to your website, where they'll be able to view the funeral information for that particular tribute, and they'll be able to interact with that page by making a donation, by using Google or Apple Pay, and they'll also be able to interact by leaving a message or a story, or uploading a photo, or however they would like to interact with the page. It will increase your brand awareness because your logo and a link back to your website is on each individual tribute page. And don't forget that these tribute pages will stay online for as long as the family wants. So there's great longevity in them. And they offer a really fantastic ongoing bereavement support tool for your families, because as I've already mentioned, they can upload photos, music, videos, but they can leave candles and messages. And there's even a journal facility on them, which can remain completely private and allow people to use it as a diary, maybe to speak to the bereaved or just share their feelings, and just have somewhere to place their feelings at any time of the day. And that can be completely separate and private from the rest of the tribute. So how do you access things? I'm sure you're all aware of this, but to get into your Much Loved partner area, you go to www.muchloved.com, click on login. If you don't know your password, just click on forgotten password, and you'll be sent a password link where you can reset your password, and then you can log in again after that. Richard's going to run through things like how to upload an order of service or create a QR code, and also how to change funeral information, personal details, next of kin information, that kind of thing. We're also going to look at privacy controls. And then separately, we're going to look at charity reports. So about 70 days after the funeral's taken place, we automatically remove the funeral information from the front of the tribute so that your families can use it as an ongoing bereavement service. And at that point, you'll automatically be sent a report which outlines all of the individual donations that have been given against that page. And that's whether you've added offline donations or just the donations that have been collected online. And you can supply that to the family if you want to. So Richard will go through that, and also how to access information, payment information. So when we transfer the money across to the charity around the 15th of the month for all the donations collected in the previous month, you can see when that payment has been made directly from your partner area. And then finally, he's going to run through how to leave a candle. So if you want to leave your own message of condolence for the family, then you can do directly through the page. So I'm going to hand over to Richard in sunny Windsor, and he can talk you through the back end.
I'm not sure I'm going to talk about my back end, but thanks for the revision of the things I'm supposed to be talking about. Okay, so let's just try and just share screens. I'm just going to quickly log on to here. Hopefully you're seeing our demonstration page, the Lovell website that we've created.
Yep.
Funeral notices, so this will be similar to your own website, and our demo funeral notices are listed here under funeral notices. As Sally mentioned, the first thing to do is to log into your partner area. Do that at www.muchloved.com. Enter your branch or personal email. It's usually the branch email, and then you'll be taken to your partner area. First thing to quickly say is that everyone's partner areas look pretty much the same. You may or may not have the review button or dedication buttons. We've got everything on our demo page, but it should look pretty much like this. And we're currently in the list of all tributes. So if I click on all tributes, you'll be here. We only have one branch at Lovell, so there's no sort of branch listings. You'll probably be, if you are in a multi-branch facility, a co-op, you'll probably, or one of the funeral partner brands, you'll be logged in via branch. Okay, what we're going to quickly do, and it might be for some of you sort of slightly sucking eggs, but we'll just go ahead and create a quick trip view just to run through that process, and then we'll investigate some of the advanced features that are available to you all. So to create a tribute, as most people know, nothing more difficult than clicking on create a tribute. We just need to complete these 4 simple steps. The first step is some basic details about the deceased. I'm going to create a page to William Bird. Also, you can add a middle name if that's appropriate, and a nickname. So if it was Billy instead of William, you can add that in there. Obviously, I can select the gender at this stage, and I can select the date of birth and the date of passing. So William passed away on the 3rd. It's also here where you can upload the order of service. Sorry, beg your pardon, a picture. Maybe you received that for the order of service. So I just click here. It will run around my files and hopefully find the appropriate picture. There we are. There's the gentleman. One thing to say, actually, by the way, if you've got your mobile phones handy, we will be demonstrating how well the, hopefully, fingers crossed, that how well the QR codes work and come across onto your pages. If you have those handy, at the end, we'll do a little demo of how that works. The basic words of tribute, they're all the same for every page, but don't feel you can't change those if required. I've got some other words of tribute here. Maybe this is some wording that the family would like. Maybe it's the obituary notice, but that entry is completely flexible. I'm not too sure what that is, but there we are. So William was a golfer and spent many happy hours playing golf. So there's our basic information. Simply then save and continue, and you're then on to the next section, which is the funeral notice. You just whir around for a moment or two. Or 3. There we are. So first of all, we need to enter a funeral title. And we've got 3 preset titles, but you can choose one of your own. So I'm going to make this a celebration of William's life. I'll select the funeral to be on the 20th, on Thursday, and the funeral time at 10 o'clock. Obviously, if it's not one of the quarter hours, you can change that time to whatever you wish it to be. If you've used the service before and you've entered a location, that will always appear in your drop down. Previously, you had to actually come up here to preload your locations. We've made a recent change where if it's not in the database, then it will actually it will go and add that in. So I'll add in extra creme. Next time I come in, that will actually be within our little database. By default, we will add the map. You can exclude the map if so required. And if you need to hide the details of the service, but you still want the page to display on your website, maybe to attract sort of donations and other interactions, but you want to keep the details private, you can simply click the service is private. It will remove the funeral message, but that can always be reinserted if so required. So there's the basic message. Obviously, anything else in this this box is very flexible. This is where you can add the Obitus link, for example. You can add information about any clothing requirements, anything you want to impart to the mourners can go here. Final section on this page are any specific donation instructions. I've got a little message here. So this will be anything to do with any charitable donations or any floral donations. So a message similar to this might be appropriate. And if it was maybe a church service followed by a committal, followed by a reception, the two buttons at the bottom just allow you to add additional map and time information. I won't do that now, just for expediency. Once we've added the funeral details, simply again click Save and Continue. And we're offered then the ability to add a charity. I will add a charity. In fact, I'll add the Much Loved charity. We are brought a charitable trust. You can search by name or by number. And once you've added a charity, and if it's appropriate, you can always edit those details. And edit the details allows you to potentially localize the campaign. It could be maybe you're raising money for, or family raising money for a hospital, but the funds want to be passed to a specific ward of a hospital. Another good example is maybe the RNLI, where they would encourage you to support their local branch of the RNLI. Simply put in the RNLI, case the RNLI, the Great Yarmouth branch, and then a brief message as to why that's appropriate. We often get asked a question about other fundraising. So if it's not a UK charity, we can still forward your family's request for fundraising to a fundraising page they've set up. If that's the case, click on Other Fundraising. Briefly mention or give it a title. So this could be, in this case, Williams Park Bench Memorial Fund. Brief description: we enjoyed the views over the South Downs, and we're raising funds to put a park bench in. And then the family will give you then the crowdfunding page link or the Just Giving link that you can add in there. We will redirect people to that page. We don't, I will hesitate, we don't do any of the payment processing for that page. If you do have any questions about that, don't ever hesitate to ask. In fact, that then leads me on just rather neatly. If you do need to get in touch with us, traditionally, just give us a call and one of the ladies in the office will answer that phone and resolve your query quickly. Alternatively, though, you can speak to them online, little purple speech bubble there at the bottom, and you can start a conversation with the team in the office. You can add as many charities as you want. So here we'll just stick with the one, but you can just repeat that step over and over again to add as many charities as is required. It's also at this stage, a little light blue prompt box opens up, inviting you to add the donations contact. The donations contact, I'll just open up the donation contact form. This is the basic details of the next of kin. This then allows the family, sorry, the charity to send an email or letter or some form of notification of thanks to that individual for setting the page up. You can also at this stage, once you fill those details in, make them the tribute owner. So the tribute owner is the co-owner of the site as well as yourselves, who has full complete control over the page. Although it's not compulsory, we do recommend that you enter tribute guardian's details, and it can be done at a later stage. I'll show you that. It just gives them full ownership of the page. If you do, you'll see a little notification here that a login email will be sent to that individual. Okay, so I'll just skip that for now. Okay, so final section here. This is a sort of preview of the tribute page as well, you will know. Now I made William William was a golfer. During the arrangement, I found out that he was a keen golfer, and we've got a whole host of alternative things that you can choose from. Please explore these at your leisure. Lots of them sort of representing many different types of lives that people lead out there. But I did make William a golfer, so I'm going to select one of our golfing themes. So that's the theme. Now, because I'd already uploaded a picture of William on the first page, I can use that existing picture as the thumbnail search on your website. If you haven't uploaded a picture, then it will default to a thumbnail of the theme. So I'm going to use the existing picture that I've uploaded. There's William, and I can move obviously the cropping tool to the appropriate spot, and then simply click OK. And that's it. The page is complete. You get you're at the finishing post here, little flag. Does everything look okay with it? Clicking complete tribute will publish the tribute straight away. Anything you have done, though, and I will stress, anything you've done can be altered and changed. So nothing is set in stone, and you can always make any amendments to the page. So there we go. I will complete the tribute, and just in a moment you'll be reverted back to the all tributes listing. It's just a bit slow because we're on a demo page. And as soon as you've reverted back to the page, there's William's page at the top there. If I go back onto our funeral notice site, and I'm just going to refresh the page, we can see William's page there, hosted on our website. Would be your website, obviously. The ability then to download the relevant service details, and obviously view the tribute to interact with it in all the ways that Sally's described. If you haven't seen it, if you click on the little jigsaw piece, these are the sort of the interactions that we enable friends and family to do. Obviously, make a donation to the chosen charity. You can create a future fundraising event. It could be that you're going to run the London Marathon next year. You're in the ballot, and you can add that and create an event to raise funds in memory. You can light virtual candles, send virtual gifts, upload long stories. It could be our time at school together. Just a little short thought, missing you today, and various media, pictures, videos, and music. This page lasts indefinitely, as you know, and can go on to become then an ongoing bereavement tool for the families. I was going to go back to our partner area. I'm going to look at this page here in a bit more detail. So I created a page yesterday to Anne Larkin. If you click on the square with the arrow, that just displays the page. So here's a page that we created, and it's raised some funds for Anne's chosen charity. I also added a webcast link, and if I go to the notice page, you can see that webcast link is accessible via your website, and it's got all the relevant password and username and password information, detailed funeral notice. But what I've also done, I've also created an order of service for Anne. So let me just go to my files. So here's Anne's order of service. So it's gone back and forth to the family. They've proofread it. They're happy with it. This is only my mock-up, so I don't think I'm in any way qualified to create orders of service. By the way, if you think you get them on the cheap, that's not going to happen. But here we go. So we've got her order of service. And what I've done, just at the end here, I've added her QR code. Now her QR code, let's minimize that just for a moment. Her QR code is accessible here. If you click on the little icon, it will invite you to download one of two QR codes. They're both the same code. The second code has your logo inserted in it. The one slight caveat is that sometimes if your logo is quite large, then it can obscure too much of the QR code and it won't show. But you can then simply download that QR code, add it to the appropriate file. So in my case, Anne Larkin. I can then send that off to the printers and add it to the order of service. So how do you add it to the order of service to the page? Let me just show you. Just going to go back to the all tributes. There's Anne Larkin's page. If you click in settings on the far right hand side and then scroll down to the funeral notice and click add edit notice, you'll see that there's a new button being added. There's all the relevant details. Click on the order of service and you're invited to then upload the appropriate PDF. It's got to be in PDF format, no Word document. And let me just find it in my file. And there we go. That's now been added to Anne's tribute page. Let's have a look at how it looks on her page. I'm just going to go to her page. I'm just going to again just refresh it, and you'll see now at the bottom of the funeral details, there's the order of service. Now if I click on order of service, we can then utilize that. Also on your website, there'll be a separate widget, and again just refreshing the page, and we can see Anne's page is accessible in the summary area there. Now, if you have all got your phones, and I'm trusting that things work out well, if you want to just point your phone at that QR code, you could be one of those people that fibbed during the pandemic and pretended that you were using QR code, but those that can, access that QR code and just see how it displays on your phone, because we are sort of very mobile friendly. I think 67% of our pages are accessed via a mobile device, and it does mean then that people can make a donation from their phone straight away, or they can upload pictures from their device. So hopefully that has worked for at least some of you. We'll just go back to the partner area. So there's Anne's page. Just want to briefly show you how to add a candle. Now you'll see, if I again sort of jumping around a few tabs here, but if we look at Anne's page, you can see that I lit a candle this morning actually from ourselves at M Lovell, and you can see how that displays. Very easy to add that candle. If you click on the little candle icon here, you can select the appropriate candle. Simply click add a candle. My suggestion is probably one that lasts for a couple of weeks, maybe a month. That's probably the relationship or the time you'd have a relationship with the family. And I'm just going to say it's all from Lovell. I'll add that candle. And if we look at her tribute again, we'll see that that candle has been added instantaneously, and that will then burn itself down. The candle I lit yesterday is a little bit smaller. Obviously, it's been burning for a day or so. Eventually, it will burn itself all the way down to the bottom and snuff itself out. Okay, back to the partner area. So here we are. If you haven't added a tribute guardian at the donation stage, you have the ability to add that in here. Simply click add the owner, enter their email address. The next screen will invite you to whom that person is. So in this case, Richard Baker, and what's my relationship with the family? Yeah, I'm the son, and then I will then be the co-owner of that site. I won't do it in this case. So we do recommend that you do that, because it gives that family real ownership of that site. You can also now share the pages via a text message. So the little bubble icon here, if you click on that, you can enter the next of kin's mobile phone number, and you can share the page to that phone number, and they can then so easily distribute that or share that page amongst a WhatsApp group if that's appropriate. Okay, I'm just going to, I know I'm sort of dancing around a bit, but just kind of want to prove. So we pulled out some of the key functionality onto this home page. So the candles, the QR code, and the SMS sharing, but everything you want to access, if you need to change anything on the page, can always be accessed in the settings. So if I click in settings next to Anne's page, this is where I can maybe change the title, maybe I've not capitalized it correctly, etc. I can also, if you're in multi-branch company, you can also change that branch from one branch to another. So if you're creating pages for other branches within your group, you can do that there. Simply click change branch, select the appropriate branch, and then save that change. That will then mean that those, for reporting purposes, those pages will be in the correct location. If you wish, you can share it on your company's Facebook. I suspect maybe some of the larger groups, you'd have to check with bosses about that first, but you can do that. And we will talk a little bit about the donation. So you have a full reporting suite. You can view all the donations that have been made. So we've just added some dummy donations, so they won't be sort of too detailed. But this is a sort of report that you can download, so detailing who has made donations, and you can send that off to the family if you so wish. All other functionality can be altered. You can come in and change themes. So if the theme, I think we chose the golf theme, if that wasn't appropriate, oh sorry, no, it was the golf theme for William. If we want to change that Patricia theme to a different one, maybe we want to choose a sky picture, we can simply do that. And everything you do is instantaneous. So if we look at her tribute, we can see that that theme has changed automatically. Back to her tribute settings. And one question I often get asked actually is how visitors can put information onto the page. So by default, if you click on moderator visitor contributions, by default, we allow everything onto the page. We feel that what's appropriate for some families might not be appropriate for others, but it's not up to us to judge. So everything goes onto the page without review. But if you want to exert a little bit more control over the page for the families, or they want to exert a bit more control, you can always click one of the other two options, add to the tribute and notify the Guardian, or don't allow anything onto the site until the Guardian has allowed that to be viewed. You could also make the tribute very private, so this will just hide everything from public view, or keep it as public, and that is interchangeable. You can chop and change those settings. So hopefully I'm going to jump back to, I know I've been monologuing for quite a while in a James Bond villain-esque way. Hopefully there's still a few people out there, but if anyone has any questions now is the time to maybe share them. Rich,
there are a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Lauren has asked if you can show us how to input the webcast details, please.
Yeah, sure thing.
And whilst you're getting into that, Louise asked if there is the functionality for people leaving donations to split the donations between charities. So instead of doing that, what happens with our system is that people will make a donation to whichever charity has been selected by the family or charities. And if it's more than one charity, then it's up to the donor which charity they want to support. So rather than donations being split out between the two, it would be up to me making the donation which of the two the family had selected that I wanted to support.
So if you had two charities and you wanted to donate £50, you would do two transactions, £25 to each one.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and so I see Deborah's question about the QR code on the order of service, so I'll cover that as well. So adding the webcast link, very, very simple. I'll go ahead and create a tribute just very quickly. Again, this will be to Will I am. I won't put any other information in. I'm going to move to the funeral details as quickly as possible. Select a title, select a date, select a quick time and a location. And adding the webcast link can be added in the funeral message section. So the basic message has been put in. It's here where I can add information about clothing, that kind of thing. But if you type in the webcast link, and you can copy and paste it from Obitus, or you can just type it in yourself. So if you do, as long as it's www.obitus.com or copy and paste, as long as you hit return. Oh, I don't think I'm sharing. Am I sharing my screen at the moment?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
As long as I hit return and the script turns blue and underlined, you've then added that hyperlink. So you can copy and paste from the Obitus notice, or you can add it in yourself, or it might be Wesley Media or YouTube. It could even be a YouTube link as well, can go in there. And then if I'll just quickly continue, I won't add a charity. It's going to show you how that then displays, and we'll leave it as that theme.
Rich, when you finish that, could you just show how to add that information into a tribute that's already been created? Because I think that might be helpful to see.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay, so there's Will.i.am's page. If I click on the view, you can see that that clickable link has been added. As long as it's that underlined, as long as it's underlined and gone blue, you've entered the hyperlink, and that is actually accessible from your device as well. Yeah, let's add in that information to a page that's already been set up. So go back to William's page here. Everything, as mentioned, can be altered and changed in settings. So we want to add something to the funeral notice. So I click in settings, scroll down to the relevant section, so the funeral notice, and I will edit the funeral notice. There's all the information about William's funeral. There's the funeral message there, and I'll just add that in. So www.obitus.com. It's gone blue, it's been underlined, that's now been added. Click on Save Changes. And if we look at William's tribute, there's the link that's been added. And that will also, if we go to the website, your website, and I'm just going to press F5 to refresh the page again, we'll see William's page now has that link added in for you.
Perfect, thank you.
Someone asked about the QR code. So it's Deborah asking about how to put the QR code onto the order of service. So we'll go back to your partner area. So I'm making the mass assumption that you will have these designed externally, and you'll send the relevant information off to your order of service provider. To download you have to download that QR code. So if you click on the little QR icon, you can download that QR icon into the relevant file. So in this case, yeah, I might save that to into this file here. Or it'd probably be, in this case, Will.i.am's file. So Victoria, is there any way to add a pre-service in the church the night before? Lots of Catholic families. So you could add the church, if in the funeral notice, we'll click on settings here. There'll be nothing stopping you adding I see. So the funeral date is actually the next day. So you're wanting a so this would actually be the 18th, not the 19th. Not sure. I have to have a bit of a think about that. I was thinking that you could show the
Jason suggested changing the reception details.
Yeah.
I think maybe if you put the reception date earlier, perhaps it shows up above.
So opening up the reception details, change this to the church service, put in the reception date. I think if you change this to church service, that does change. I think that does change when you complete it, the wording. So if I go to his page, Oh, I didn't add a venue, sorry. I was going to quickly put in a postcode just to find a location. So that should produce. Yeah, so chronologically, it hasn't put it in the correct order. So I was hoping that church service would have appeared at the top, but it doesn't.
I guess the alternative is to actually use the funeral information as the church service, and then use the reception as the funeral. And then if you wanted to add in a reception, there's still a third section that you can pop in, Victoria.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're right. So yeah, if you were just to change church service the day before, it will then list on your website as the 18th, not the 19th. But that should then put it in chronological order. But thank you for your question. Certainly something for us to have a think about.
Excellent, great. So there are a couple of other comments. Just finally, we have run over time quite a lot, so we'll just have a look at these last sections. So Lauren's asked about the login details for the webcast and whether these need to be given privately. From my experience, Lauren, it's fine for them to be added onto the funeral notice. Have you got any experience of that, Richard? But generally, we see the login details.
It's really sort of, it varies from one to the next. So I often see just the whole Obitus notice with the username and password added as standard, but other ones where just the Obitus link's been added, and then contact the family or contact the funeral director for login details. So there's no one word answer to that. I think it's either or.
Okay. And then Yvonne asked how the QR code is made up. So we create that automatically through the system. So you just literally need to click on that QR code image and it will automatically create a QR code for you that you can download and then pop on the order of service. Just please obviously check that every QR code does work before you add it on. So give it a quick scan with your phone and make sure it's going to the correct place before you pop it on the order of service, and also when you're checking the order of service. There was just one other thing that I wanted to show you before we finish, and that is just on the charity payment reports. So Richard, if I could ask you to look at Anne's page and just click on, that's it, you know where you're going. So when we transfer the donations over to the charities around the 15th of the month, and each time we do that under charity payments, you will be able to see exactly when we've paid that charity. So you can't see it on here because this is a sort of demonstration site, so we can't physically transfer.
You can view it in your own page. Yeah, pick a page that you've seen that you created yourselves.
So we transfer the donations around the 15th of the month for the previous donations in the previous month. So we're in October now, so donations that are collected this month will be transferred over around the 15th of November. And if donations have been collected over 2 months, then obviously the payment to the charity will be given over a couple of months as well. But any questions at all, then please give our support team a call or send an email or use the chat box. We're always available and happy to help. And just finally to say, if you've got any questions, I'll share my screen again so you can see Richard and my contact details. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to get in touch with us directly. And thank you very much for your time this morning and joining us.
Thank you all very much.
We've moved it on. That's not very helpful, is it? Professional